Semi-axle eyesight. Is there the high drive? Deep center. Go, go, go. We're out of here. We're out of here. Say ya, playa.
Just like they drew it up in Hollywood. Caladros, the 3-2. Swing and a miss! And the Audubon Green Wave have upset the Kingsway Dragons! And this is it for good! The Audubon Green Wave are back in the Final Four! A gold pile on their side!
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to DW Broadcasting's coverage of men's varsity.
From our entire crew, we'll see you tomorrow. Have a good one, folks.
All right, joining us live here from the RCSJ Roadrunner Complex, it is the Atlantic Cape Buccaneers and your RCSJ Roadrunners here on the Roadrunner Network. Working the camera tonight is Michael Givens. I'm Dan Wilkins, and we've got a good Garden State Athletic Conference matchup. Funny enough, this is the first time this season that we are seeing the men's soccer team on campus. We've covered two of their games this year, one against nationally ranked Camden County College, which was at Rutgers-Camden, and another versus RCSJ Cumberland, a game that was somewhere in the ballpark of 10-2, and they ended up playing over at Cumberland County Tech. But the Roadrunners have definitely had one of the more unusual season arcs this season. They were entering the 2024 fall campaign nationally ranked at the number 7 spot, but then started to pick up. They started off the year with 1 win, 4 losses, and a tie, but then they have been red hot lately. They have not lost since a 2-1 decision at Raritan Valley back on September the 28th, and they've won 5 straight, 4 of those games being shutouts over Ocean, Manor, Bergen, and Delaware County, and they have won 8 of their last 9, looking to make it 10 today versus a 1-9 Atlantic Cape club, which picked up their first win in a 2-0 shutout of County College of Morris just a few days ago. So the Buccaneers, yes, you see that right on your screen. They have 11 players, and I don't mean 11 players standing out there for the starting lineup. They have 11 players. So they will do the best that they can to stay in this one. They held it close versus RCSJ Cumberland a couple weeks ago in a 5-4 loss, but after the Buccaneers have now picked up their first win of the 2024 season, we will stay on the air for this national anthem performance. All right, and there we go. We are ready to go here from the Roadrunner Complex. I'm Dan Wilkins here with Michael Givens this afternoon. Should be a fun one on this overcast afternoon, as coming into this game, Atlantic Cape 1-9 and RCSJ 9-5-1. They, like we said, have won their last 5 and the last 8 of their past 9, including 4 shutouts in that span. And there's Mike Wolverton, a professor of ours here on the public address. We've got 90 minutes of Garden State Athletic Conference soccer. It's 58 degrees here from Sewell. We are going to be certainly experiencing a lot of this weather in the next couple of days. And of course, the last 80-degree day of the year, which was on Sunday, we didn't have any work. We didn't have any broadcasts. So now It's cloudy, it's 55 degrees, and we've got some soccer on the way for you this afternoon. For the Atlantic Cape Buccaneers, as led by head coach, sorry about that, the Atlantic Cape Buccaneers, their starters tonight, Julio Torres, Carlvin Altador, Yordi Vasquez, Dylan Baqueta, Antonio Mendez, Nick Maldonado, a sophomore, goalkeeper Albert Colon, Antoine Canizares, Christopher Torres, Alex Preisner, and Leonardo Velasquez. And then for the Roadrunners, their starting 11 for this afternoon is going to be Cameron Borger, Angel Colazo, Matt Lilia, Tyler Lowe, Favor Agbidi, Jermaine Okiki, formerly of Lindenwald, Robert Pionkowski, Charlie Scheel, Diego Torres Eguiluz in goal, Evan Walski, and the freshman John Young getting it started here for the Roadrunners as they look to win their 6th in a row here on this overcast afternoon from the Roadrunner Complex. Again, I'm Dan Wilkins. Michael Givens is on camera, and we have a brisk but fun afternoon ahead of us. It's a busy week for DWB. We've got a football triple-header coming up this week with Cherry Hill West and Pennsauken on Thursday, Washington Township at Kingsway on Friday, and Pennsgrove and Woodburn to close out Week 8 on Saturday, October 19th at 11 a.m. Should be a fun one. We've got Atlantic Cape in the navy blue jerseys with the white accents, and RCSJ wearing white with blue shorts. And we're underway. First touch by Julio Torres as this one goes back to Alex Preisner. Running along the inner line, this will be a throw in by number 15, that being Charlie Scheel. It went back to John Young, and that one went out of play. Roadrunners will throw it in very quickly with number 10, Angel Colazo. And we've got our first whistle of the game. Only took 35 seconds. But the Roadrunners coming into this one with a 9-5-1 record, 7-4-1 in their conference. Like we said, this is a little bit of unfamiliar territory for us because this is their first game of the season that we are covering on the Roadrunner campus. We saw these guys on August 25th in what was a 5-0 loss to Camden County College, another nationally ranked program. They're in the number 4 spot this week for men's soccer at an 11-0 record. They are visiting RC Cumberland later this afternoon for a game down in Cumberland County. This one goes over towards the Roadrunners' goal and Diego Torres Aguiluz, and it'll be rolled back out. The Roadrunners have had no less than 3 goalkeepers throughout the rotation of this season. Brandon Martinelli, formerly of Lindenwald, one of 3 Lindenwald alum, including Jermaine Okiki and Emilio Hernandez, on the team as freshmen. Pull it down. That'll roll out of play to the left. But we don't have to do too much of that, but just you were out too far. That's all good. So this will be a goal kick for the Buccaneers, the number 15, Alex Preisner. The sophomore keeps it on the ground. Of course, Camden County College had an authoritative win in their opening game of the season against them, and that is just going to roll out to the right for the Buccaneers. Atlantic Cape fell 33-0 in a loss to Camden County back in August of this year. And again, Camden County College is a nationally ranked program, so it's not like these guys stacked on 33 goals for nothing. But still, there were definitely some debates in the online world about the ethics of that. You know, when do you stop scoring? When do you wave the white flag and put in all of your, second string and third string players? But like we said, and like I was getting back to in just a moment, this is the 3rd goalkeeper to start for the Roadrunners this year, along with Gloucester alum Kevin Wall and Brandon Martinelli as well. So It's interesting to see how that position has evolved for him, considering that Wall was a striker all 4 years at Gloucester. I mean, he had heaps of goals over there, and was able to be one of the leading scorers in a Colonial Conference. And, when he originally committed to RCSJ in the fall or winter of 2023, it appeared that he was going to remain in that position. But then, we were talking with him during the preseason, and as he was moving along, they decided, you know what, we think you would work really well in the goalkeeper spot, and he has. He actually started versus Brookdale in what was a 4-1 win. That was the only game in the last 9 for the Roadrunners, or excuse me, in the last 5 to not be a shutout. Here comes a corner, and that one gets deflected away. Corner was taken by John Young. He'll get a second shot at it. Young sends it away, a little too much on it. But everybody's trying to get out of the jam. This time Atlantic Cape hangs onto it, as Young of Williamstown is denied of his 3rd goal of the season in what is his 12th conference start of the year. And that one's out of play. We almost saw another one there from number 26, Favor Ogbidi, another Lindenwold alum who has picked up a goal this year. This is his 9th conference start. Young will take the corner again. This is his 3rd in as many minutes. This one has a good angle on it. It is deflected by somebody. I think it got deflected by the Buccaneers goalkeeper, Albert Cologne. And now this one gets sent up again. It'll backpedal to Ogbidi, who goes back to Young. Here comes a line drive, goes to the right, and gets knocked down in air by Matt Lilia, formerly of Buna, who we saw a fair bit of last year. Here comes a header by Young. Atlantic Cape returns the favor with a header. Ogbidi thought twice about going for a backwards bicycle, and this one is going to backpedal the Roadrunners. This one is deep, headed right our way, and into the back row of the bleachers. Yeah, our camera guy's going to get that, and he'll feed it over to Maddox Marker there, another member of the RCSJ Sports Media Club who will be working with us in some capacity. But instead of being on the camera, he's on the field working that sideline there. Handful of headers by the Roadrunners. Young returns it, going through traffic to Barchetta. This will be thrown in by the Buccaneers and by Nick Maldonado. Ogbidi has space, sends it over on the far side towards the far corner flag for Cameron Borger. Gets headed away by another Buccaneer. Little crossover move there by Maldonado. He finds space and burns past Ogbidi. Zoom out a little bit. Yeah, zoom out a little bit. Ogbidi wins the battle over Torres. Yeah, generally need a wider angle. I'd rather you have a wider angle. So something a little bit more. All right, and then now a little bit in. There we go. Much better. Yeah, that's good. Young working past Canizares, taking a little stumble. And Lilia finds some space over towards Pionkowski. And that one's out of play towards the Row and Osteopathic Medicine parking lot. Here comes a good shot, but that will roll right over the post and out of play. This will be sent away by number 15, once again being Preisner. Potkowski over to Collazo. And Potkowski with a line shot hits off of the back of Chris Torres. And now he finds some space setting it up for Young and instead does not get any on it. And it just rolls to the left of Albert Cologne. It's a kind of a messy situation there over near the goalpost. Lilia had a chance and about 3 other guys had a chance, but Atlantic Cape wins the battle there. This will be another corner for Young. We are just about 10 minutes into this Garden State Athletic Conference contest, still scoreless between the Buccaneers and the Roadrunners. This one has a good angle, headed to the right of Cologne and out of play. For the Roadrunners, this is their second to last contest of the season, or of the regular season, unless an out-of-conference game gets added late, which certainly there is a possibility of that. The women's team did it. They are versing Fashion Tech of New York this Sunday. That'll be a game that we cover, kind of the matinee of that head-to-head on Sunday the 20th at 3 o'clock. But either way, besides that, you know, the Roadrunners kind of got their men's soccer schedule straight away with their out-of-conference games. And not to say that the women's team didn't, but, you know, the whole reason why that game's being played on Sunday for Fashion Tech is just that Fashion Tech needs more games. And the Roadrunners are like, yeah, we'll play one more. Because they already versed each other in early September in what was a weekend two-step, if you will, with Suffolk County on Sunday, September the 8th, and Fashion Tech being the first of those 2 games. Atlantic Cape wanted a handball there, didn't get it. And the captain, number 8, Tyler Lowe, ends up sending this one back to Cam Borger, another Washington Township alum. This one hops to Torres. Borger with 1 goal, 2 assists, 4 points all told in his freshman campaign at a Sewell. So kind of a hometown hero for these Roadrunners. That kind of is the roster makeup of community college athletics. Dylan Kodama is the only out-of-state athlete that chose the Roadrunners, and he comes out of Manhattan Beach, California, over 300 miles away of Miracosta High School, home of the Mustangs. This one's got a good angle on it from Scheel, headed, and it will just miss to the left. Couldn't tell with that angle there where that was going to land. And you could hear kind of the sigh in the crowd because we weren't sure whether that was going to go in or not, but it just goes to the left of Albert Cologne, and we remain scoreless here early in the first half. This broadcast is brought to you by Garden State Pet Center. Keep your pets happy and healthy with the most organic food products available in South Jersey, along with toys, cages, accessories, and more. Visit 7 days a week at 226 South White Horse Pike in Audubon. This is a powerful goal kick by Alex Preisner. Landed right at midfield, and it went back to Maldonado. Borger had it. Chasing was Vasquez, and that goes out of play on the far side. As we mentioned before the broadcast officially got underway, we have a football tripleheader this week. Cherry Hill West and Pennsauken on Thursday the 17th at 6 o'clock. That one went through the ref's legs. How about that? That's got to count for something, like a multi-ball in pinball or something like that. Good way to keep it down for Canizares. Borger over to Lilia. Lilia working through heavy traffic and working past Vasquez. Now going back the other way. Atlantic Cape takes a slide and a foul. But yeah, as we were saying, Washington Township and Kingsway is our Friday Night Lights game. That is our last scheduled Friday Night Lights game of the year, 6 o'clock from Woolwich. And that is because the week after, Friday, October 25th, will be Dan Wilkins Broadcasting's second annual fan vote game. The games will be revealed on Friday during halftime of the Kingsway broadcast, and it will be 4 games that you can select from. And the winner will be our last Friday football football game of the year on Friday, October 25th. On Saturday the 26th will be Salem and Pensgrove for some Salem County action to close out the regular season. But after that, all playoff games, all crossover games will be determined on a later date. So it'll be fun. Football season's already coming to a close. There comes a line shot, and that's a goal, Roadrunners. John Young pokes it through in the 15th minute, and we have our stalemate breaker. And John Young, the freshman, pokes it through for a 1-0 Gloucester lead. That was just a good play in transition there, and a good play, fluid motion by the freshman Young, picks up his 3rd goal of the year. And after being denied on 3 or 4 corner kicks, it almost felt like, poetic justice that he picked up that first goal of the afternoon. And we are back underway after the Roadrunners pick up their first goal of the afternoon here from the Roadrunner complex in Sewell. Another powerful boot from number 15, Preisner. Back to Maldonado. Again, Lowe working through traffic, back to Young. That one just got past the Roadrunner goal and goes into the parking lot. You heard there from the public address announcer, Mike Wolverton. That assist was by Okiki. This will be sent out of the Roadrunners goal by number 99, Diego Torres Aguilas. 9 games started for him this year. But Aguilas, 49 saves across 9 games this year, giving him an average of 5.4 saves per game and 5 goals allowed this season. And he's a freshman along with his cohort, Kevin Wall, who has done his fair share. And that's going to be another goal for the Roadrunners. They pick up their second. And now those walls are starting to break here early on as Robert Piatkowski picks up a goal, and it's 2-0. Piatkowski, the sophomore out of Washington Township, that is his 11th goal of the year and will give him his 22nd and 23rd points of the campaign. Buccaneers talking it over here as we get back underway with 28 and 30 seconds to play in the first half. Lowe finds some space, hits off the left foot of Young, keeps it on the ground, over towards Shield. He finds some space on the ground, set up for Young, just ran past. Just ran past the Atlantic Cape goalkeeper there. That one rolls out again. Handful of subs coming in for the Roadrunners. Getting subbed out is number 10, Angel Collazo, and number 20, Jermaine Okiki. One of the new names in the game is number 11, Brennan Wheeler. A little bit of a conundrum in the footwork there for the Buccaneers and the Roadrunners. As Mendez over the middle, shot down by Ogbidi. Cologne ran over to the left, but a little too far out of the comfort zone as Brutalighten Calcino out of Clearview was the one to chase that one. He's also one of our new subs to come in. And the Roadrunners, I mean, they are a deep team. They are somebody who, you know, will have a lot going their way, you know, when it comes to bench depth, because kind of everybody plays on the same level. And I think that that's something that you don't see on especially every community college program, where you might have 20 or 25 guys on a team, but you're only going to have 12 or 13, maybe 14 or 15 that can actively play valuable minutes off the bench. And not every program has that. I mean, in the case of the Buccaneers, this one rolls over, and that's going to be another goal. Their third. Looks like that was number 18, Jacob Garrett of Gateway. And with that goal from Jacob Garrett, which is the third of the game for the Roadrunners, a little bit of DWB history for you. He becomes the first player in the history of Dan Wilkins Broadcasting soccer to score a goal on one of our live streams at both the high school and the collegiate level. It's a bit of an interesting factoid there. Roadrunners immediately taking over possession here, wasting no time. With Brennan Wheeler and Garrett in tow again. Young was back in it as well. Oh, there goes the shot to Mendez. He is down. Cologne running in on it. We'll see if they stop the clock here, because he is down on the far side. They're going to go for a corner kick here, but they haven't stopped the clock. The referees, two of the referees coming over to see Mendez. See if they ask him to stop the clock. Maybe he just had the wind knocked out of him. Not sure exactly. I'm very surprised they didn't stop the clock for that. But that's another problem that exists. They don't have anybody to sub him out for, because they only have 11 players that are here. There's nobody on the bench. So that creates a very interesting conundrum if Atlantic Cape is going to play with 10 men. I mean, I just don't think that's anything I've ever seen before at the high school, youth, or collegiate level. Here comes a corner that gets blocked. Albert Cologne put up the right hand and took care of it. So 2 subs coming in for the Roadrunners. Palazzo and Ogbidi are coming out. And coming in will be Noah Pagan out of Matawan, one of our North Jersey cohorts. And here comes another corner kick from Young. This is his 6th of the day, and a header will add another 4-0. And Young picks up the assist. I'm not sure whose head, shoulders, knees, and toes were in there to get the goal, but that gives the Roadrunners a astounding 4-0 lead, and after we were scoreless for the first 15 minutes, 4 goals have been scored in 8 minutes. And the Roadrunners could very well, if they keep up this pace, be on their way to a 6th straight win. That one rolls out on the far sideline. Roadrunners will throw it in on the far sideline. Beatty was chasing, but it gets knocked out by Christopher Torres. Roadrunners again have a throw, but instead we have a whistle. Tyler Lowe was the one who picked up the goal there. The captain. And for Lowe, the Hamilton alum, that is just his 2nd goal of the year. But that is in addition to his 8 assists already, so I guess roles can be reversed here. His 1 goal this year was in a 4-1 win at Union back on September the 24th. And in 14 starts as a freshman, he picked up 3 goals and 3 assists. So while the assist numbers have gone up for Lowe, that'll be taken in by Cologne. So we've had 4 goals from 4 different players. We started out with a goal from John Young in the 15th minute. Then it went to Robert Pionkowski, who picked up his 11th. The freshman Jacob Garrett. And then, as well, we now have Mr. Lowe, Tyler Lowe, getting in on the fun there. Speaking of John Young, this goes back to midfield for number 27, Evan Walski, a Kingsway product in his freshman year, class of 2026. That one is a one-hopper, gets away from Cologne, and he hangs onto it with his left hand. So we are a hair over halfway through the first half, and we already have a lot of excitement for the Roadrunners. We're going to have a sub for the Roadrunners coming out. It's number 15, Charlie Shield. And coming in will be number 4. That is Dominic DeAngelis, another Williamstown product. I mean, that's the thing, is that it almost feels like sometimes with these guys, you're watching a team that is very homegrown. And, you know, a lot of these guys come from Washington Township, Williamstown, Kingsway, Clearview, Lindenwold, not as much because they're a little bit further away. But, you know, I like to say sometimes the community colleges are your county all-stars. You know, you've got Angel Collazo out of St. Augustine, Wheeler out of Washington Township, and Noah Heights as well. He's a GCIT product, and GCIT is about 500 feet down the street behind us. So it's not all that of a surprise, you know, when we see these players in the community college scene working together well, because a lot of these guys, especially those in the Tri-County division, have, in the Tri-County Conference in high school, have played each other or played with each other over their high school years, whether it was as teammates or as opponents. So, you know, when I look at somebody, you know, a team that has a lot of success, part of it is, well, have their opponents played each other a lot in high school? Because, you know, somebody like Garrett and Wall and Okeke, all 3 are Colonial Conference exports. Wall out of Gloucester, Okeke out of Lindenwold, and then you've got Garrett out of Gateway. Those 3 players, I mean, you know, others included in the Colonial Conference, but all 3 of those teams play each other twice a year. Once at home, once on the road. just keep your shot there. Like I'm saying, just keep it at that zoom. But make sure you're following the ball. That's a goal, Roadrunners. They pick up number 5 the half. $18-12 left in the first half. Yeah, so Atlantic Cape is playing down a man because they have one of their guys on the bench, which is number 7, Antonio Mendez. And that creates a very unfortunate situation as, you know, just because of an injury that they had to Mendez, now the entire team basically, you know, kind of has to play an uphill battle. And I mean, this is just one of those things where it's, you know, sometimes participation and membership just within a community college just aren't there. Um, you know, Atlantic Cape, they have some very good athletics. You know, their baseball team has been very good for the past couple of years, you know, up until recently. And Torres blocked it. He wasn't able to get a grasp on it as he fell down backwards. And Cologne picked that one up, but then Torres kicked it out to make sure that there were no further issues.
Now?
17 minutes left in the first half, 5-0 Roadrunners. Here comes another swipe, doesn't get it. Here comes another corner. It's up. And barely hanging on to it is Cologne. Back over to Shield, who has checked back into the game. Young over to Walski. Taking a little hip-to-hip there with Chris Torres. That will race over towards the corner. It gets stopped, and the whistle is blown. That was Mitchell Jean-Jacques, or Mitchell Jean-Jacques on the charge there, or on the run, if you will, for the Roadrunners, the product of Absegami and Galloway. That's another one where it's not really, it's kind of a home away from home. Absegami in the Cape Atlantic League. Part of that 3-school Egg Harbor district, along with Oakcrest and Cedar Creek, the newest of the 3, which was established in 2010. And overall, one of the newest high schools in the state of New Jersey. One of the newest public high schools, we should say. Because there have been some private academies that have opened in much more recent years, but, I mean, hey, Cedar Creek has sectional championships under their belt for a team that, and for an athletic organization that has only existed for 14 years. 2025 will be their 15th calendar year in operation. "15 minutes left in the half. That one is out of play. Roadrunners up 5-0 if you just joined us. We've had 5 goals from 5 different men. So everybody's getting a piece of the pot, piece of the pile. Everybody's contributing in their own way for the Roadrunners here in this team effort. So far in this one, that one is a boot to midfield. Young has it.
Yes.
Finding some space is Heights of GCIT. Back to Jean-Jacques. And back to Heights. This one is deep. Here comes a wonderful line drive that gets speared by Cologne. Barely hung onto it there.
Looking at wide.
So Atlantic Cape still looking for their first score of the afternoon. Finding some space, Cologne to the left. It's in no man's land, and in an open goal, it's going to miss to the left. You can see some of the Roadrunners guys, they had their hands over their heads thinking that they scored another one to get to half a dozen. But not yet. Here comes another corner. Does not go. That'll be a can of corn for Cologne. Ends up working out for him well there as Atlantic Cape hanging on to the possession. Here we go again as we get closer and closer to 10 minutes remaining in the half. The Atlantic Cape player who was injured and was on the sideline for a while is now getting ready to check back into the game. He is standing where the substitution marker is. That one ran out of play. We are inside 10 minutes to the half, with Gloucester holding a commanding 5-0 lead. Again, Roadrunners breaking through some traffic. Cologne dives on it and avoided what could have been a bad situation there. So he will dive on it. And that injured player, Mendez, subs back in for the Buccaneers. This will be a goal kick for number 15, Alex Preisner. Unfortunately, he is not on the website for Atlantic Cape and their roster. In fact, they don't have a full roster available on the Buccaneers website. And they didn't have I don't know if they had a full schedule either, because they have only played 10 matches to this point. The Roadrunners at this point are in their 15th match of the season. So I could very well be wrong on that, but I know that there could be, very well could be some information missing there. This one, the closest chance Atlantic Cape has had in the first half to getting on the board. It's Torres sliding, and that's out of play from number 23, Noah Pagan of Matawan. Pagan of Matawan coming in for the slide there for the Roadrunners. Throw in by the Buccaneers. Now that they are back at full strength. Keeps it high, but it's going back the other way. Deflected by Baqueta. Brought it down with the chest for the Buccaneers. Made sure to avoid any other stipulations there. Back to Baqueta. This one goes back from DeAngelis to Calcino, and that's out of play. Had something good rolling there, but just couldn't execute. Young over to RCSJ and DeAngelis again. This one is up. It will go to Cologne's right, and it actually will stay in play, setting up room again for DeAngelis, who we've seen a lot of. Goes through. That's a goal. Thought it went through the legs of Cologne for a second, but that adds on another for the Roadrunners. And that will make it 6-0. Over on the far side, we've got 5 minutes left. Buccaneers have some room, and it is stopped. Their first shot on goal of the game to Aguiles ends up getting blocked. Goes back to Young. That one roll out of play up onto the hill and right towards the grandstands.
Like a mini kill. We don't know this.
So Young picks up his second of the day. Doesn't go. And that one will. I don't even know who scored on that one. That might have been... No, that was number 21, actually. I'm sorry, 23, Noah Pagan, who picks up his first points as the Roadrunner athlete. Oh, we'll go out towards the construction site on the far side. Not sure what they're building over there, but it's something. There's always some kind of construction there. I don't think there ever hasn't been. So the Roadrunners and Pagan add on another in the 41st minute, and they jump out to a 7-0 lead at half. Or towards the end of the half. We still have 3 minutes to play. And considering the Roadrunners put up their first 4 goals in a span of 8 minutes, I don't know how much it would surprise me if these guys break through for a little icing on top before the halftime break. That one is far out towards the Roadrunners sideline. And number 13, Christopher Torres, was in on that one. So they just confirmed that Calcino was the assister, if you will, the assistee on that goal. And that one will roll out for Mitchell Jean-Jacques.
Just a tough guy.
100 seconds left. Under a minute left in the first half. This will be a throw-in for the Buccaneers.
Anyways, now you're talking about a team that's dying in. That's your block.
It's like feels like the wind has died down a little bit. So maybe that will make for a little bit of better playing conditions here in the second half. "20 seconds now. As this goes back to DeAngelis, back to Young. Finds some space in transition. They'll keep the play alive. Breaking through traffic. That shot gets deflected as Preisner was all over that. And that will end the first half. The Roadrunners did not score a touchdown, but instead they scored 7 individual goals, 2 of them from John Young. And after 45, it is a 7-0 Roadrunner lead. We'll be right back here on DWB.
Yeah, it's all good.
In life, the road ahead is full of possibilities, but to navigate it safely, you need the right skills. Harper Driving School is the premier driving school serving Gloucester, Salem, and Camden counties. With experienced instructors, many of whom are teachers in local schools, we are dedicated to your success and will help you master the road with confidence. With an over 95% success rate of students passing their road test on their first try, you know your student will be in good hands while embarking on a huge step of their young adult lives, all while avoiding the lines at the DMV and getting insurance discounts. Anything you can imagine, it's a fun thing to do, and as an RCSJ student, it helps myself and others advance our careers. So we're happy that we can bring this coverage to you.
Garden State Pet Center is an independently owned full-service pet store. Our specialty is promoting companionship between people and animals by providing the healthiest product choices available, including all-natural foods, supplements that support and relieve health issues, and innovative products for pet parents. Our goal is to provide our customers with a relaxing environment, and while we're not striving to be the biggest store on the East Coast, we're striving to be the best. No other pet store will make you feel at home like we do. At Garden State Pet Center, we view pets as members of the family. We don't believe in fast, high-pressure sales, but instead matching up the right pet with the right owners, as you are making a lifelong commitment. Together with our team members, we would like your visit to our store to be both enjoyable and educational. Simply drop in and take a look around. View the birds, reptiles, small animals, toys, food, cages, and miscellaneous items. Learn of the services we have to offer and decide for yourself if this is the store you'd like to call your home away from home.
Victor Santucci, owner of Garden State Pet Center. Visit us today at 226 South Whitehorse Pike in Audubon, New Jersey. We're open 7 days a week for all of your pets' needs.
2 minutes remaining. 4 fouls on St. Joe's. 1 more and it's a bonus, which would greatly help Gloucester Catholic. The moving graveyard! It's a 1-point game just like that! This place is going nuts! And now a drive to the basket by Spross. He lays it up and lays it in! St. Joe's has 2 timeouts remaining. Gloucester Catholic still has 3. Here we go. Mascaro pulls up. He goes to 3! 6 points! Jack Mascaro has tied the game with 90 seconds remaining. How will the Wildcats respond with a miss of
And I just put it on Instagram. Can you repost it? Yeah, I got it. I got it. Shopping out.
All right, second half ready to go here from our CSJ. Roadrunners up 7-0 over Atlantic Cape. Referees are ready to go. So are we. And so are the 22 on the field.
Wow.
Cam Borger on the possession for the Roadrunners. This goes back to Lilia. Lilia hugging the near sideline. Back to Agbidi. Back to Borger. And Lilia lets that one get past him. Atlantic Cape tried to hang on to the possession, but they do not. With number 4, Carlvin Altador. Looks like this will be a corner for Young, who has already picked up 2 goals and an assist here in this 7-0 ball game so far. He lets it fly, looking for a hat trick. They get the goal, and we'll see if that counts as an assist for Young. I guess you could say they tack on the 2-point conversion. It's 8-0. Actually, the clock is still running, so I think they're going to let this one, I think once it gets to a certain margin, once it gets to a certain deficit for one team, they allow the clock to run after goals. So we'll see how that plays out as we've got 42-45 and counting left in the second half as the Roadrunners now lead 8-0. All right, today will say that is a goal to Pontkowski. And Walski on the assist. So Young does not get his second assist of the day just yet, just because he was the first one to get it started on the go. Wow, that ball got away from Cologne. He kind of bobbled it midair, and then it came back down in the play. Now here comes Borger again with some distance and falling away. Cologne takes it in. Torres sends that one out up onto the hill. Borger will throw it in. Not a lot of substitutions yet for the Roadrunners. I thought in an 8-0 game they would have maybe subbed out the goalkeeper, or not saying subbed him out, but, you know, put somebody else in. Not that it's Diego's fault at all. It's nobody on the Roadrunners' fault, but with a roster this deep, you definitely want some of your guys who don't get as much playing time to get to get the playing time and experience. Over the middle again. Setting it up for the Buccaneers and setting it up for Mendez, who had that injury scare in the first half and actually resulted in Atlantic Cape being down a man for a good 10-ish minutes. On the ground to Walski. Back to Borger. All right, that's a fine angle. You don't need to zoom in or zoom out, really. Yeah, you could just leave it at that, like at that for zooming in and zooming out. You don't really need to do that anymore. Roadrunners have this. They'll cross the pitch and go to Borger. Towards the near sideline. It goes back from Lilia to Borger again. Over to Heights. That one's up. Header. Taken in by Cologne, but we do have a whistle there. So that will be negated. That will roll out. Borger was on the chase. And Borger will throw it in. It gets dropped to Walski. Young back to Walski. Gets some distance on that. Back to Shield. That's a goal for the Roadrunners. Clock will continue to run. That makes it 9-0 Roadrunners. The most goals ever scored in a game on a DWB broadcast by one team was RCSJ back in September when the women's team beat Middlesex by a score of 11-3. Lilia back over to Borger. And back to Walski. Walski again has it. Finds some distance for Charlie Scheel. So Palazzo was on that goal. He is the 6th different player to score for the Roadrunners this afternoon. Back to Borger, who brings it to Young. To Walski. Couple of hops. And the Roadrunners hang on to it. Definitely a good call for this game to start at 3:30 with the clouds overhead, not really posing a threat, but the sunsets being earlier and earlier now as we get deeper and deeper into fall, into autumn. You know, I've seen a couple of times soccer games that have started at 4 and have had some long delays, and before you know it, it's too late for them to finish the game with lighting concerns. So kind of a back and forth here with Walski and Young. Looks like the Roadrunners are going to make that is a heap of substitutions on the far sideline, including a new goalkeeper, Kevin Wall. So I think these guys are going to try to stay. You can see how these guys are working right now. They're just trying to stay on the pitch for as long as possible before those new subs come in. So Wall and about 6 other subs are getting ready to come in for the Roadrunners. This is a luxury that Atlantic Cape just very unfortunately does not have. And sometimes this happens with certain programs that, after years like this, could cause programs to be shuttered if they don't bring up the membership numbers. And it's something that you never want to see, but it's certainly an inevitable conversation with the community college programs that just don't have the numbers to support it anymore. We saw last night a Division I program, Campbell, as in Division I of the NCAA. They decided they were going to slash all of their scholarship athletes from their wrestling program, a nationally ranked wrestling program. They cut all of the scholarships and also said that any scholarship athlete for wrestling would no longer be permitted to participate on the team. So there's a couple of legal actions being made there over in Boys Creek, North Carolina, including Gloucester alum Caleb Wright, who committed there And, you know, a lot of the outrage was focused around the fact that, you know, these scholarships had been promised and honored, but instead they decided to cut them. And, you know, before you cut the scholarships, you should at least give the players another chance, not another chance, but necessarily to give them an opportunity to transfer out before the players find out, before the coaches do, that, you know, their scholarships are getting cut and that they're not going to be able to participate in this Division I program. 15 minutes have elapsed in the second half. Borger has it. He has space. Back to Walski. I mean, those guys have been standing there on the far sideline, including the new goalkeeper, for upwards of 2 or 3 minutes now, just because there hasn't been a change of possession. Now that these guys are really starting to simmer down during the entire duration of this second half. So somebody's got to get tired and somebody's got to make a change once the ball goes out of play. Walski to Borger again. Lilia has some trouble there, and the ball will finally go out of play. And here come all the new subs for the Roadrunners. Kevin Wall will come in goal. And like we said, there is a litany of new guys on the pitch, including DeAngelis, Jean-Jacques. Colazo is coming off. But a change in goalkeepers for the Roadrunners as Kevin Wall comes in. This will be a throw by Young over towards DeAngelis. That's way up there. Gets knocked down. Big hit there. That feels like that's our first big collision of the game, and no hard feelings there, but that was number 21, Leonardo Velasquez, and number 19, Robert Piatkowski. So, yeah, nothing difficult there. That one goes to Walski. And back to Pontkowski. Atlantic Cape takes over with Julio Torres. Ball gets thrown in, and another sub coming in for the Roadrunners. Walski back to Young. I mean, this is the part of the game where these guys are just starting to dance around with the ball a little bit. You know, not really an urgency to score another goal. Atlantic Cape obviously trying to get back into this game, but Roadrunners are obviously trying not to tire all of their players as this one goes back to Wall. But, you know, this is the part of the game that definitely, you know, wins me over for baseball, is that in baseball there's, or at least in college baseball, there's no clock, and it never ends, or I should say it never ends, but it, it, you know, it's never over until the final out. This is a game that, you know, objectively is over, and they have 25 minutes left for Atlantic Cape, which, like we said, they have no players on the bench. They are playing with the 11 that they have, and these players are going to get, I would imagine they would get incredibly tired running around out there for 90 minutes. I mean, I think at least everybody has had a turn on the bench for the Roadrunners tonight, just because this is such a physically demanding sport. You know, kind of makes me curious about how these guys are going to go about it for the remainder of this 24-22nd second half. Crosses through back to, or went past Young, now over to DeAngelis. Young has it again. He's got 2 goals and an assist. Tonight's lead. Back to Wall. Atlantic Cape is outnumbered, but that one does go back to Wall, who slows it down, passes it back to DeAngelis. Young whiffed on it. Now it goes back, and Young limping on that right leg. And this is the issue that you run into with playing your starters in a game that is mostly already decided, is that you don't, you know, I saw it with, this is somewhat of an unrelated analogy, but, you know, the Paul George situation last night, where that Sixers preseason game means absolutely nothing, you know. So the fact that this, hopefully the injury isn't significant, but if it was, it would certainly raise a lot of concerns about players' involvement when it doesn't matter. But then you also have the counter argument at the same time, to where if Young had hurt himself there, so would have any other player, whether it was a starter or not. So, does that make bench players expendable for their injuries, and you want to protect the starters as best as you can? No. I mean, it's a physical game. Luckily, Young kind of just limped for a couple of seconds and it was okay. But I'm just making an example of it where, this game is all but over, as he takes a shot off of the shoulder blade there. Angle down. Now DeAngelis swirling around the back. And another big boot there to the far side, headed by Ogbidi, and it is out of play. Exactly what I said. Make sure you can see everybody. That's all good. This will be a goal kick for the Buccaneers. Goes back to Wall, who finds some space, and it goes to Walski. Jean-Jacques. Oh, he took a shot there. He seems to be okay. Mendez again keeping this one on the ground for Torres. And that one goes to the left for Kevin Wall, who will pick that one up. Roadrunners bring it back in play for DeAngelis. With that sun being covered up, it definitely doesn't make things any warmer here. 57 here from Sewell. And we got about 18 minutes and counting left to play in this one. The Roadrunners would improve to 8-5-1 with a victory, and they will have won their 6th straight, which, you know, I don't think that you need a rocket scientist to say that the Roadrunners had a slow start to the season, and now they are absolutely making up for it with a great run here where they will be well on their way to 6 straight wins going into their season closing match versus Northampton in more Region 19 play, but out-of-state play on Saturday the 19th. That will be the last men's soccer home match, I should say, over versus those guys from Bethlehem. Yeah, back to Young. DeAngelis again. So after a 7-goal first half, the Roadrunners have now put up just 2 in the second. And both of those were early. We were talking about a 9-0 lead at least 10-15 minutes ago. And these guys have really stalled out, but maybe for the better. Another hit there. Roadrunners wanted a hand called, and that will be picked up by Cologne just outside of the goal. taking a hit. Jean-Jacques stays up. That one is out of play after another close call for Cologne. So Atlantic Cape, for the entirety of this game, if you're just joining us, have only been playing with their 11 starters. They had 11 people circled on the roster. They had 5 or 6 that were not circled, and I thought, okay, we might have 5 or 6 bench players, but no, that's all they had. Roadrunners were scoreless for the first 15 minutes. They then added up 4 goals in the next 8, closed it out with 3 more goals at the tail end of the first half, added 2 more early on in the second, in what has balanced out and mellowed out as a 9-0 Roadrunner lead. This one is blocked by Atlantic Cape. Out of play with Lily up there. Here comes the free kick for Atlantic Cape. Torres back to Torres. Julio Torres over to Chris Torres. Or vice versa, depending on who you ask. 12 minutes and counting left in the second half. Remember, in collegiate or in NJCAA soccer, there is no overtime. I know in high school and the professionals, or I should say in high school, where we usually get our roots from, is you have 2 periods of 10-minute overtime followed by a tie if no golden goal is scored in that period, but that is not the case here. It is as timed as you can get, no overtimes. Once 90 minutes are done, and you know, whoever is leading or not leading at that time will get hit with the result. Taking a couple of hits there, we stay in play. Walski, he's been hugging the inner sideline. Now it goes back to Wheeler. Sets it up well. Doesn't have it, and it's out of play. The 2 former high school, I should say, not rivals, but competitors with Washington Township and Kingsway, respectively. The familiar face is now sharing one uniform as the Buccaneers send this one away. It's about 10 minutes left. These guys are going to trade the ball back and forth a little more. Don't forget, our next broadcast will be actually tomorrow night at 9 p.m. as we have our virtual race of the week down there on the virtual banks of Iowa Speedway over in Des Moines, as we have race 4 of 14 in the simulated competitive online racing experience from Iowa Speedway. That'll be a 9 p.m. start time for SCORE as they start to get into the thick of it of Season 8. And then on Thursday, October 17th, we've got some Thursday night lights between the Cherry Hill West Lions, who we just saw last week, versus Cherry Hill East. We'll be seeing them for back-to-back weeks as they look to get back on the mend here in 2024. And they face off against Pennsauken Indians, who are also hanging in there in the win column. We saw them on the 5th with a 13-8 win over Camden East Side, formerly Woodrow Wilson. Atlantic Cape having their another good shot. On Friday, October 18th, we've got ourselves our last scheduled Friday Night Lights game of the year with Washington Township and Kingsway. That'll be a 6 o'clock game. And the reason why we say last scheduled is because on Friday, October 25th, will be the annual DWB fan vote game. There will be 4 options for what our live stream will be to close out the regular season. Roadrunners trying to block and give Kevin Wall some support inside 8 minutes to go. Buccaneers take a tumble there. Mendez has it with Pagan taking a trip. And no foul, it appears. Eight minutes and counting now. I think this is the first men's soccer game I've seen all year that doesn't have any yellow cards being thrown or red cards being thrown. I know when we covered these guys last with Cumberland, things got very, very chippy at the end. And chippy is an understatement. I mean, we almost had full-on pandemonium down there at Cumberland, and that was for the crosstown rivalry, the Battle of Route 55. Which is one of my favorite rivalries to cover. Oh, he just took a big slip. He hangs onto it, though. It just looks like he lost his footing. That one is wide right to Wall. As we have 7 minutes left in, I keep wanting to say regulation, but there's no overtime in collegiate soccer, in NJCAA soccer, that is. So we've got 7 minutes left in the ball game. Atlantic Cape would fall to 1-10 on the season with a loss. Their remaining schedule in the 2024 campaign for this season, they won their first game of the season on Tuesday the 8th. And actually, we should note that this is their last scheduled match of the season, and that 2 prior matches before the 8th, I should really preface that. The last match that we have data for is Tuesday the 8th versus County College of Morris, when they picked up their first win after starting off the season 0-9. They had 2 matches between Montgomery County and Raritan Valley on the 10th and 12th, but the scores have not been inputted to their athletic website for those matches. So there are a couple, there are holes missing in the roster online. There's a couple of matches missing. So we apologize for not having that information fully, but I mean, at the high school level, I can understand, you know, information being missing. I have to you know, I have to bicker back and forth with high school football coaches all the time because they don't put in stats for their players on NJ.com. I mean, at the community college level, I thought that it would have been something a little more standardized to have at least the final scores for every game that you play in your system. So they could be, depending on how those two matches that we don't have information for, they could be 1-12 after tonight. They could be 3-9. I don't know. But I just haven't seen anything like that before at the JUCO level. We have under 5 minutes remaining. I mean, yeah, some of these guys that are starters for them, like Mendez and others, don't even have profiles on the... Oh, he took a hard hit there. We'll see if they choose to stop the clock. I think because of the... Even with the injury timeout, it would... we saw this with one of the players, I think it was from Middlesex. They decided to not stop the clock because of the margin of yeah, they're going to bring out the athletic trainer for RCSJ. That is Mendez again. Mendez appeared to maybe bang up his knee, and he already got injured in the first half, and Atlantic Cape was down a man for about 10 minutes because of it. So they have decided to stop the clock at 3:52. So you can see Mendez there needing some assistance to get off the field with his teammates in arms. Oh, yeah, it's interesting. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah. Well, yeah. All right. 3:52, and this will be a good chance for Atlantic Cape to get on the board. Wall defending in goal. Alex Preisner looks like he's going to be the one to take the shot. They're going to back up a couple of the Roadrunners. As Atlantic Cape, they run the clock again. Preisner will take this shot here, looking to break the goose egg. Oh, man, that hurt. You could hear that. You could feel it. And that was number 9 for the Roadrunners. That being Mitchell Jean-Jacques, who basically took the shot there. You could hear him wince in pain. That basically hit right off of his left shoulder blade. There's going to be a red mark there tomorrow. And here we go. Attempt number 2 is wide to the right of Wall. And play will resume with 2:35 and counting left in the second half. Should note, Saturday, October 19th, we've got more DWB football between the Pennsgrove Red Devils and the Willingboro Chimeras. The scoreboard just shut off. Wonder if they turned it off. No, there we go. I thought they turned it off because the game was almost over, but I was going to say they still need to keep the clock officially, or else they would keep time on the field. So the Roadrunners with a 9-0 lead would win their 6th straight and their 9th of their last 10, with 6 of those games being shutouts. Here comes a throw in. Preisner has it. He has some room, gets past Lilia. And Chris Torres working through some Roadrunner traffic. We've got 100 seconds left. Shoots it over the middle. Onto the far sideline for number 4, Carvin Altador, excuse me. And a whistle blows there for a foul. So for the Roadrunners, their next match will be Saturday the 19th in a home match versus Northampton. And now we've got a minute left. Here comes the free kick. Preisner definitely got a great boot on that. This one goes back to midfield. "45 seconds and counting." A little tussle there in the middle. DeAngelis and Cansares getting together. Under 30 now to play. And that's out. This will be thrown in by Lilia. Headed by Preisner. Knocked down by Cansares. And Lilia has it again. We've got 10 seconds left. And for the 6th straight match in a row, and for the 9th of their last 10, the blue and white, the RCSJ Roadrunners, have won their 6th straight match.
I'm going to run over there and see if I can talk.
The Roadrunners win it with a dominant score of 9-0. They scored 7 in the first half. And honestly, I mean, I have a lot of respect for that the Atlantic Cape program. The fact that they came here with only 11 players and they had to play all of them for 90 minutes. They were down a man for the final 5, and they were down a man for about 10 minutes in the first half. I mean, really admirable for the players that are out there in the navy and white for the Buccaneers. It is not easy to go out there, with a 1-10, 1-11 record, and play as tough as they did. But they gave RCSJ some tough shots, and even though the Roadrunners had it, basically from the 15th minute on, scoring 4 goals in 8 minutes, it definitely helped their cause. And these guys are going to have a tough schedule ahead, but so do the Roadrunners with Northampton and whatever playoff match they have in the future in late October, early November. We'll see how that fares. But these guys are going to be in for a nice rest of their final week ahead, as the final score tonight, the Buccaneers of Atlantic Cape 0 and the RCSJ Roadrunners 9. That'll be all for us here at Dan Wilkins Broadcasting tonight, as we will be back in action on Thursday for Cherry Hill West and Pennsauken football over at 6 p.m. from Camden County. From our entire crew, our social media coordinators Brandon the Kegerland and Keely Curran, our graphics crew Gavin Van Rel and Caleb Lane, my camera person for tonight, Michael Givens, I'm Dan Wilkins. We will see you on Thursday from Pennsauken